Hey guys, Glenn from Fraser Pickets. I thought I'd do a little video just to, just help share the knowledge around in our industry and in the fencing space and give back a little bit. I know when I started out in this, I've utilised a lot of YouTube clips to see how other people are doing things. You don't necessarily have to do things this way, but I thought I'd show you how we do it. And that way, if there's something you can learn from it or something you could then do in your business, then it'll be a help. Again, not saying this is the right or only way to do things, but this is how we do it. So I'm just going to go through how we mortise our posts. Here in Melbourne, we typically use, in the industry standard, is dressed cypress for our picket fences. And we we only mortise all our rails and plinths into the posts. We don't do front or rear notching. The reason why we've decided we never do that is purely just out of strength and credibility of the posts and longevity. Now, we went through a lot of scenarios when we started this business in terms of how we mortise our posts, in terms of speed and accuracy and making nice tight mortises that are workable on site. Now, we're lucky enough to have our own workshop, but when I started this, I started in a one-car home garage like a lot of people, and working just out of my ute. But now we've got quite a few guys working here, and we needed the storage space and an actual woodworking shop. So we've now got a workshop that we do all this in. We're up to mortising about 100, 120 posts per week. So as you can imagine, speed and accuracy is quite important to my business in terms of getting things done and still making a profit and doing a good job while we're doing it. We've gone through, as I say, different scenarios. Like when I started out, I started by drilling out my mortises and hand chiseling out the corners to square them off for the rails and plinths. Then when I got the workshop, I then moved to a router, and I was doing a plunge router. Ordered in a big 1-inch router bit, and I used to make a jig and route those out and then square them off with a chisel. I then stepped up into a chisel mortiser, which I can show you a little bit later. And look, does an amazing job, nice, clean. But what I found is it was quite a slow process, even by setting up mortising tables and workbenches and having them on adjustable tables and so on. It was still quite a slow process, and we found that we burnt through the chisels really quickly, which got quite expensive. I then sort of looked at chain mortises, and the traditional chain mortises are the big Bertha type ones. They weigh about 2 tons. If you can find one for sale, they're normally second hand, and not a lot of people sell them because they are quite handy. The issue I found with that, one, finding one, but two, when I did find them, they're all 3-phase power. And I don't have 3-phase power in here yet. I haven't had the need for it. And that was quite an expense for me to go and put 3-phase power in just for 1 or 2 machines. So I needed to have single phase. So I then looked at and went for the Makita Chain Plunge Mortiser. I would have to say, out of all my tools in my arsenal, this has been and is the best tool that I own. It's fast, it's accurate, it's mobile, it's single phase. If we have a situation where there's an existing post that we're joining to, we want to mortise into it, we can take it on site, clamp it to the post and use it. It does nice clean cuts, providing you follow a couple of small steps, and we've obviously learned a lot of these things through time. So the quick first tip I'm going to show you all is, once you've marked out where your rails are going to go and so on. So we square off our top and bottom lines. We then use scribers to scribe our side, our centre and edge lines. My first tip is, get yourself a decent heavy duty low angle chisel, and you want to really thump and stamp the edges. Now, the reason why we do this is because you are dealing with a chain mortiser. Now, chain mortiser effectively just works on the same principle as a chainsaw. So because the chain's going down and spinning, it's you're going to end up with one clean cut side, and then when it comes up the other side, it's going to rip out and chip the timber. Cypress is quite soft, as you know, and it splits and chips at best of times. So we really stamp it really hard, really stamp that in, just so you end up with a nice defined line there. So when the chain mortar comes up, if it does chip it out, it breaks off there and it doesn't rip your posts. My other advice is when you get your chain mortiser, go through the manual, okay, because there are some quite easy adjustments to set up your guides. So when you're working, this flicks to the exact measurement that you need, and we can do rails and or rail mortise relatively fast. So I'll line this up now, clamp it on, it's on the post. As you can see, you can do that vertical if need be, if the post is already in the ground. Alright, now let's make some noise. That's 2 steps. We wind this one out. And that is done. That is a rail mortise. It's all squared off and ready to go. We always have a little piece of our rail just sitting here as a bit of a template, and you just double check, make sure it's all good, because you don't want to get on site and can't fit your rails in and you've got to pull the chisels out and everything else. Defeats the purpose of trying to do this and get it nice and fast. And that's how we do our mortises. We do the same all the way down. As you see, we've already set the guide so it finishes exactly to the right width and depth for our particular rails. You do the same with the plinth at the bottom. Any sort of square capping we mortise in. Anything that we think that can be mortised, we will mortise. Because once we build and we put the rail in there, we nail it off, we'll then seal that with an exterior corking just to make sure and eliminate any sort of moisture getting in there. So we mortise these off in the workshop after we've made the tops, and then we coat them with 2 coats of oil-based primer and bitumen on the bottoms and the in-ground parts. And that's how we build our posts. I hope this helps some guys out there, especially if just starting in the trade and trying to find the best solution and trying to find the fastest way to do a high quality job. It definitely works for us. It's not a cheap tool. I think they're coming in at about $3,000 each. You have to order them in from Makita. No one stocks them on the shelf. So expect a 2-week wait when you do order one. And yeah, probably, as I say, the best tool in my arsenal, and I'm seriously considering buying another one. Alright guys, I hope that helped. Enjoy. If it did help, give me a thumbs up, and I'll make a couple of other videos to show you what else we're doing. Cheers.